All right, actually, we are going to get started. So, welcome everybody to the final day of our entrepreneurial summit. It has been an awesome, fantastic week. Man, just amazing jam-packed sessions, all the free game, lots of motivation to keep us all pushing further. I know that I took away a lot from it, and hopefully you guys will take a lot away from today on how to get into a box at Boxville. So first, do a few church announcements, if you will, before we start. Just want to let everybody know this session is being recorded. So if that makes you uncomfortable, just so you set the tone for the afternoon. This whole week of sessions has certainly been possible from some really great partnerships. One with the Coleman Foundation, the Illinois SBDC at Greater Englewood, and the Illinois SBDC at Build Bronzeville, which is where Boxville is located. We couldn't do this without their support and partnership. So thank you very much for that partnership. With their support, we're actually able to give away some really essential prizes for your business at the end of the summit. So end of today or tomorrow, we'll be selecting some winners at random to be giving away either a couple of headshots, so you can get your headshot game strong, stop using selfies and crop pictures with your ex and things like that. So get you some real. Don't act like I'm sure some of y'all have. I know I did. That's just me. Okay.
I cropped my son out of my first Zoom picture. I was like, nah, I look too good on this one. We need this LinkedIn.
So we got one of those prize packs. There's going to be some professional headshots, and then we're giving away 2 grand prizes that are going to include headshots, a 3-day desk pass at the Bronzeville Incubator, a really beautiful sun-filled co-working space, and branded shirts for your business provided by Actually Be Creative. So again, we're going to be picking some folks at random at the end of the week. So be on the lookout. Those will be delivered digitally at the conclusion of the summit. So I'm going to jump right in. I'm going to start with just kind of a discussion or description of what Boxville is, some of the advantages, if you will, of working in Boxville, and just kind of give you our story. And then we're going to jump into talking with 2 of the enterprises that are here with us today. So the backdrop, what is Boxville? Boxville is Chicago's first shipping container marketplace. We're using modified shipping containers for commerce in place of traditional brick and mortar spaces. So our approach is to disrupt the cycle of disinvestment, disengagement, and blight inner cities within our community, of course. You think about the typical starting point for inner city commerce, you're working with dilapidated buildings, which is just consistent in our neighborhoods, empty retail slots, just a infrastructure that's in disarray and, debris everywhere. And that's the unfortunate reality of our neighborhoods. So when you think about rehabilitating these areas and these commercial corridors, it can take years, if at all possible, depending on the condition, due to the volume of work that's required. And it's difficult to secure funding to rebuild these infrastructures in these corridors. So what we're going to talk about is how we're using Boxville to address those challenges and how this model can address these challenges in other areas and communities like ours on the South Side. So how we're efficiently using space and capital to improve these enterprises. Let's talk about the Boxville model. So the advantage here are clearly the economics of it. You have this steel infrastructure, right? These shipping containers go back and forth on ships across the ocean every day, 24/7. They're weather tight, watertight, until you start actually making cuts inside of them. So you have this structure that's ready to go. When you're talking about operating out of this structure as opposed to brick and mortar, essentially you're saving, thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars in taking a steel structure building out the interior as opposed to building brick and mortar. So when you're looking at opening a business or running a business out of a brick and mortar space, there's several thousands of dollars that's involved in renting the space. You have a couple thousand square feet. Maybe you're maximizing use of 70% of it, maybe less than that. So in operating out of a container, you're talking several $100s in rent. Some a couple hundred square feet of space, really using that space efficiently, and maybe not an obligation for at least for a long period of time. And we'll talk a little bit about what those terms look like in Boxville. So all in all, the economics for Boxville equals lower financial risk specifically. And you have an opportunity to introduce your brand, your service into a market to see if it works before really making extensive commitment, if you will. Another advantage specifically for Boxville is our location. We're, extremely close to different types of transit. We're at a transit stop, a CTA stop, 51st Street. We are less than 1 mile from the highway and less than 2 miles from Lakeshore Drive. So we're in perfect position here. When we talk about some other advantages of Boxville and how we have assembled these containers physically to create a community, that's how we operate as well. These enterprises, although they are independent from one another, we do operate as a community. We're coordinating participation, which gives us higher probability of success, even though we're operating independently. I like to call it cooperative competition, if you will. Every individual in the enterprise that we have here, we operate out of community guidelines, which is a part of our lease commitments. And I'll go over those quickly. But the reason why this is important is because these guidelines help to cultivate this community to make sure that we are maximizing every opportunity. Last Lap Corner Store's customers very well could be Creative's customers. And so we try to communicate, we collaborate, we practice civility, meaning, being respectful of each other and each other's business. Content, we're very conscious of each other's content and protecting that from being, our intellectual property or our branded property in any outside influences, if you will. Confidentiality, I like to think of this as family business. We communicate, but also it's family business. We keep it within our community. And critical mass, that being the most important. Again, everyone's customer is potentially everyone's customer. When we're all operating together, same time, same days, people like to spend their afternoons, their evenings on some days, their full Saturday visiting all the different enterprises. So when we're here together and we're working together, not operating in silos, we really see success. So when we're talking about business models and concepts that work well in Boxville, there's a variety of different offerings, which again is what makes Boxville appealing. There's food enterprises, they have small menus with ready-to-go meals, pre-order and pickup. I'll get to some of those logistics for food enterprises in a moment. There's retail concepts, for instance, Last Lap Corner Store, which is a running store, Be Creative, which sells branded apparel as well and makes their apparel on site, and also other creative service offerings. So the opportunity in Boxville is certainly endless, but we want to make sure that the concepts and the business models fit for our infrastructure and collectively. So I want to talk about, I've talked about a lot of the advantages and the potential for and taking advantage of what we have in our model, but there are some constraints, just like with any other infrastructure that you have. But these constraints allow us to also be resourceful given for the things that are in place. So the utilities that are available in Boxville are electricity. Every container is insulated. So it's drywalled, it's painted, it has lights, there's outlets for you to use for different appliances, lights, computers, laptops, chargers, etc. But there's no gas and there's no water and no sewage. So for some of the concepts, we have electric sinks, we have the different things to keep all of our regulations and licensing in place and make sure we're addressing all the issues that are appropriate for our concepts. And when we talk about active food preparation, active food preparation production is not allowed on site. That food preparation happens at a licensed commercial kitchen, and it's transported safely at appropriate temperatures to Boxville, where they're able to sell their goods from their container. So very important as any food enterprises that are on the call today to keep that in mind. So I know a lot of us are here today to figure out, well, how do I get into a box? What's the process? What are the requirements? It all starts with a conversation, what I call a business concept review. It allows us to get to know your business and establish how your model will be set up for success. In some instances, some models work better on an e-commerce platform. You may not need a container to maximize the opportunity or to reach your demographic in this neighborhood. But that's something that we talk about and have a discussion. But it certainly starts there. We're not interested in just collecting rent. Like, we don't want to be a landlord. That would just be like any other commercial corridor in the city. What we're focused on is establishing active, engaging, diverse business hub here at Boxville, having a lot of different diverse offerings. When your concept is approved and we decide to move forward, we decide on which available container is best suited for the concept based on our site. And if a container is not available, you'll be put on a waiting list. We'll review the lease terms, go over the Boxville community guidelines, as I pointed to earlier. You pay your deposit, and then you move in. And so going back to the advantage of working out of a shipping container in Boxville, the time to establish yourself in the space is a matter of days as opposed to weeks and months when you're working out of a traditional brick and mortar space. So that's the backdrop of Boxville. I think the real value is hearing from the folks that we have with us today, Last Lab Corner Store and Be Creative. So at this point, I want them to introduce themselves. We'll start with the Be Creative team of 3. Each of you, if you guys could share each of your stories, what you guys do, and we'll jump into the rest of the details later. So Be Creative, why don't you guys go ahead?
First of all, hey.
What's going on, guys? Eddie, if you don't mind getting started for us.
Oh, okay. I wanted to him, but okay. How you guys doing? My name is Eddie. I am 1/3 of the triangular force known as Be Creative. I am also an artist, so I paint, draw, create in general. I am, I guess that's pretty much it. As far as what's going on, that's 1/3 of Be Creative, the work spot, Project Escape, entrepreneur, all those beautiful things. So, yeah.
Eddie. I am AJ. I am also 1/3 of Be Creative. I played the role of operations within the work spot system and dynamic. The work spot is a print production company that takes up 20 feet of our container. And then we have the other side, which is Project Escape, which is our boutique and apparel side. I had also media and visual content, creative content, digital content for Be Creative, the Project Escape, and the work spot also. So that's the role I play. That's who I am.
Yeah, I didn't actually say my role in this. My role is also I'm head marketing and the creative director for everything that we do. And that's through all the businesses. So if you see something creative, it's from either my head or hers. Yeah.
My name is William. I am 1/3 of Be Creative, the collective. And we, as you heard, run and operate out of the shipping container in Boxville. We split our 40-foot container into 2 elements, which is the work spot, which is a print production shop, and then we have Project Escape, which is our boutique. I've been an entrepreneur for about 10 years. I specialize in print production, and I have a background in marketing and media as well.
So I like to think that we all kind of come together and add our flavors to make what is Be Creative, and then we have our individual businesses under that umbrella, and then our own individual businesses as entrepreneurs. So
with 3 pillars come together and we build a pyramid.
8.
I'm saying.
Yeah, and these 3 pillars were essential to where Boxville is today. They were I believe the first enterprise here. They
quite
started
backstory. Quite the backstory with Boxville.
I won't do it justice, but I want to make sure to put some respect on y'all's name. I mean, they started with a 10-foot container, a micro box as we refer to it, and they're now operating out of a 40-foot container. So
Yes,
certainly a
indeed.
success story that I like to highlight all the time. And
Thank
not
you.
only
No, I
success
appreciate
story,
that.
which in transitioning to Ian's introduction, he certainly has seen some growth in a very quick time period as well too. But I won't steal your thunder. So Ian, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Ian Gonzalez, owner of Last Stop Corner Store, running specialty store here in Boxville, in Bronzeville. You feel me? I am all 3 of them.
Okay.
I'm a solo solopreneur, whatever it's called. But like, you know, I handle all of the day-to-days. I handle the sales floor, I handle the marketing, everything that you see creative comes from me. I did start off begrudgingly. Alexander, no, I started off in the 20-foot box because I was tussling with him and Bernard trying to get this 40-foot box from day one. But you know, I took the recommendation. I did the 20-foot, and honestly, it was definitely the better way to go. It gave me some time to not stress out about filling the box up and slowly, you know, bring in more accounts, more products, and things like that, where it looked like I was full of things when in actuality in the beginning I didn't have a lot. And now that 7-8 months later, I have the full 40-foot container to myself, and now I'm able to hold shoes and sports bras and more apparel from other brands. And it's been a really smooth growth, starting off small and growing in. That's been one of the things that I've enjoyed that actually really brought me to Boxville, was the ability to grow at really a forced pace versus a traditional retail space where I would have been in there just trying to fill up wall to wall with merch.
Yeah, absolutely. It certainly was begrudgingly. I mean, Ian was ready. He was like, I came here for a 40-foot container. What are we talking about? But I'm glad you.
Oh, listen, he ain't lying. Like, he told me, he's like, yeah, we got 40-foot containers. I come up here. He was like, yeah, so we probably going to split this. And we think you take 20. And so like a week or 2 later, I'm in a meeting with him and Bernard, and I'm trying to sell this 40-foot idea. And they was like, you know, we might have somebody who wants to take the other side. I was like, I got a check right now. Like, they not here. They thinking about it. I got my money right now. I wanted to be in this 40-foot container. But what I say all that to say is that when you're working with Alexander, when you're working with Bernard, when you're working with Lauren, even though sometimes it doesn't always seem like they're always working in the best favor for your business and stuff like that. Sometimes it can feel like, you ain't doing it the way I want to do it, but it's a lot of love in the information that they've given me. It's a lot of love in the options that they've given me. You know, it's never felt like I've been held back at any point.
Well, you know, and I appreciate you saying that and sharing it. And, you know, the discussions that we have, and even referring back to the initial business concept review, for us, it's really important that people are set up for success. Like we do care. Like, everything that we do here is intentional, and we don't want to see anyone come and like try out an idea, and at the end of their discovery, there's either nothing to show for it, or it wasn't set up for growth from the very beginning. So it's definitely very strategic. And, you know, like you said, people may come in with an idea or a concept where it's like, well, in doing it out of a container, like, you might have to approach this in a different way. And it's actually to your benefit to develop and grow at a pace that will allow you to pour into your business more and really think through all the different facets of running a business. Like I say, Ian's doing everything. You know, even though Be Creative is a team of 3, I'm sure that they even have challenges as well. So whether you're a solopreneur or a team of 3 plus, you know, working with Boxville, we're really trying to equip everyone, not only with the infrastructure to be successful, but with the strategy for growth. And I'm going to actually jump to that point. You know, I had some other questions to start off with, but since we're on this topic of how you've used Boxville for growth, if we could start with Be Creative, you guys could share a little bit into, you know, that story I mentioned of, you know, starting in 10 feet and going to 40. Just tell the people about your journey, what that looked like, and why it was successful.
Just to piggyback off what Ian said, I mean, hearing the story was like really cool to hear because, you know, we went through, to be honest, a similar growth stage. When we first came to Boxville in 2018, it was literally a marketplace. You know, it was something that was housed in the summertime, and you know, it was just kind of like a meet and greet station, and you know, it was more so like a pop-up shop. And you know, we decided to kind of go into a 10-foot container, and we went solely retail. At that point in time, we had our print equipment in our print workshop, you know, in a totally different location, but you know, we wanted to showcase and highlight all the different brands that we do. And so like upon moving forward, you know, our whole concept and idea was like, this is a great opportunity not only for pop-ups but for actual businesses, because you know what we all have in common is that we don't have other jobs. You know, we are full-time entrepreneurs, and we wanted to take advantage of that space. And so like, upon, having that conversation about expansion, prior to us, partnering with Amber, me and Eddie, were together, and we legit had to sit down and map out this growth plan. We wanted to truly show Bernard and the owners of the space of like how, bringing us on board to a rate of being there daily can truly affect the dynamic and build out of Boxville in its entirety. And it takes entrepreneurs to attract entrepreneurs. I mean, so we wanted to be that pioneer group. We wanted to come here and be like, hey, I know that you guys are, building and working things out, but we are willing to do the same, if you guys want to work with us as well. So like, it's very funny because, we sat with Bernard. We literally had this idea of the maker's box. And, we built this 40-foot container model on a napkin. Like this was like the most elite napkin design you ever seen in your life.
We still have it.
It had colors on it. It was taped. We even made it 3D.
Still got it.
I know, right?
We still got it.
And so like, Bernard was intrigued because he was like, okay, guys, like I want to see what was really going on. And we had to tell him like, hey, I know that this may sound crazy, but we're not looking for space because we want it. We actually need it because prior to us moving into Boxville, me and Eddie was literally running our entire operation out of our townhome. So like, Bernard came in, so it was like, hey, are you guys literally printing? We had a print shop in our basement. Eddie had the entire living room as a showroom for his artwork. He had a back room for his his studio. Yeah. And then in the same breath, like right next to the kitchen, you can see like mannequins and like lineup of all of our work. And so like Bernard just was like very intrigued because like we were about what we were saying. This was like this will be literally the next step. And so like just to a lot of other aspiring entrepreneurs and people who are on this journey, it's serious, and like sometimes all we need is that opportunity. And I feel like Boxville did that for us, so just kind of like seeing how it's built now and how we can just be on board of other strong entrepreneurs like Ian, and to be honest, have more support of Alexander, who wasn't there first. It's just really good to see how like, the dynamics have built, just from, pushing it forward, because, like, if you don't have anybody to push that needle or have nobody to like be that domino, how can you get all the pieces to fall, So
Very true.
True. So, and thanks for sharing your history. And I think to get back to Ian, I want the people to hear from you, like your story and like why or what made you take the leap into starting your business specifically, and then why Boxville. Because I think you have a very special, unique story, and you're offering a service and a product that is very much needed on the South Side.
Yeah. So boom, like I've fallen in love with running in the last 3.5, 4 years. Never was an athlete in high school nor college, but I came into road running half marathons, full marathons, stuff like that. And I've just enjoyed it so much. I enjoyed it so much that I started a run club called 7 on Sundays. And I got really active with another run club here on the South Side called Gumbo Fit. Both Black run organizations, Black crews that, focus on normalizing Black and brown spaces for running and Black and brown faces running on the South Side. And so I spent the last 2 years working with those, developing these organizations, getting runners out here up and down King Drive, up and down Stony Island, on the lakefront. And what I realized as I was starting to get people interested in training for their own races, their own half marathons, their own full marathons, that there was a glass ceiling that both organizations were going to hit. Because as I recall, when I first started training for a marathon, between working, I'm a father, it was really hard to get the necessary items that I needed, like nutrition. I can buy a pair of shoes and run in those for like 3 or 4 months, but the things that I would have to replace on a regular basis, like my Goo or my Cliff blocks and stuff like that, it was really hard for me to get it within my neighborhood. I couldn't, like on the north side where I was working, when I was working for Nike, a lot of those runners, they might have forgot to pick up their gel, they Cliff blocks before they run, but they know that they could plan their route out they can plan their route where they'll hit a running store, where they could just pop in, grab what they need, and finish running back to their house. Versus on the South Side, like I would have to go out of my way, go all the way downtown to get the items that I needed. At this time, Dick's Sporting Goods, which excellent, cool store, but a lot of those people in it, they work, they don't run, they're in there for a job, and so they didn't really know how to answer a lot of the questions that I had for them. And so when the pandemic hit and everything slowed down, I was just sitting on the couch one day and I was watching Netflix, the umpteenth Netflix show, and I was just like, yo, like I can't come out of the pandemic trying to apply for a job. Like, I don't want to do that. I've already been on this 5-year journey trying to figure out where my space is as far as working for myself. And I just kind of remember just a conversation I had with a friend year previously, just random thought that I blurted out in the middle of a conversation about how cool it would be to have a running store. And I want to say like about an hour, 2 hours went by where I just had the initial thought to where I ended up on Instagram, seeing if the name that I thought of was taken, because that's the first thing you do as a business owner. Business 101. They should teach it in Harvard. Go on Instagram and see if the name of your business is taken. And it wasn't. So I took that as a sign, hopped on the state of Illinois, filed for my LLC real quick, and slowly got here. Fast forwarding to me getting in Boxville, it was important that if I was going to have a running store on the South Side, like I need to have a physical location on the South Side. Like just having a website was not going to make the accessibility for my runners, my community, the way that I wanted. So it was important for me to have a physical location. Traditional retail spaces, I don't care whether it's right up on 53rd, coming up on Lake Park, or the new spots that they just built off 44th and Cottage Grove, like traditional retail space, crazy expensive. I was seeing like they want $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 a year to rent out these spaces, even super small spaces. And it was just, I wasn't building this business with no trust fund. I wasn't building this business with no GoFundMe. I was building this business with my unemployment checks. You feel me? So I had limited income. And so I saw the boom box on 47th Street. And I was like, okay, maybe I could start there, save up some money, give me a traditional retail space. Come to find out, those aren't available anymore. And it was just like on a bike ride or something, or one of my friends, I can't remember how, they just mentioned like, Boxville does, like, they kind of like the boom box. And actually, I remember another friend had a pop-up shop here once. And so I did my Googles, found Alexander's contact information and reached out to him, and we sat down and had our conversations, and it's been awesome because the overhead here compared to a traditional retail space, it's not even in the same ballpark. It's been amazing. I was able to get it
to reinvest whatever you would have been paying in space back into your business.
Exactly. It saved me a lot of overhead that comes with having a physical space. And I was able to spend the money to get the products in here versus just getting in this physical location, putting all this money down, and then being stuck trying to figure out where I was going to get capital for merchandise.
So you mentioned a couple of things I just want to highlight and kind of, put some caps on, because what you did was you identified what was lacking in the area and that demographic you were trying to reach, and all of that aligned with your passion, which I think is super important for people to understand, entrepreneurs understand, when they want to work out of Boxville or anywhere for that matter, as far as a physical location is concerned. Understanding your target demographic and where are they located in regards to where your physical presence is. And if who you're trying to reach isn't in the immediate area, how do you bring them to you through different platforms as well too? So I think super important to pull from what Ian was saying, but also to dig a little bit deeper in your journey. I want some folks to take, have some takeaways as either they're interested in Boxville or starting a business somewhere else. Some of the lessons learned, whether it was building up from, the 20 to the 40 or just starting out, and just what would you, I guess, give back to the people like, hey, this is what I learned in this process from a business standpoint and from the standpoint of operating out of Boxville. Either one of you guys can take that away.
I'll just chime in right quick. From a business standpoint, I think before the SBDC partnered with Bill Bronzeville and became housed in the incubator, we definitely learned how important it was. Sometimes as an entrepreneur, you move through passion, I had this idea and I really just kind of want to see it through, and you don't really realize the legalities and the licenses and different registrations you need. And if you didn't go to school for it, it's just not something that's privy to you a lot of times. It's not something that's just right in front of your face. You're more so thinking about, how do I make this thing happen in real life, not more so the credentials that go along with keeping it stable. So I think we learned a lot about that, a lot about finance. And once Alexander and Lauren came and really helped shape us up and really take the vision that we had and help make it a lot more concrete. You know what I'm saying? So road mapping was important, understanding where we are and where we want to go and how we can get there was really, really important for us. I think if you guys want to chime in. Also too,
just because it's three of us, and first of all, entrepreneurs speak a different language anyways, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like sometimes it's easier to be like a sole person running a business rather than three. So one thing that we've all been really good at as of late is communication. It's extremely, extremely important to communicate with your partners, letting each other know what's going on a day-to-day. Because, these AJ and Will, they run the day-to-day. I'm more so off, creating. I can create on location, but it's still important that we always discuss, we always talk about what's going on in the day-to-day. We always talk about the business, the ups and the downs, the pros and the cons, or what we're trying to do as far as building and expanding. So within that, it's important. I've learned that it's extremely important to know your role in an actual partnership and a business, and play that to its T, and just be extremely communicative with your partners, and making sure that you guys move as a unit, and it's not one person moving solely by themselves. It's move back as one. So that's been like a cool thing to learn as far as the journey so far.
If I could say one more thing, in community, Boxville taught me the importance of community. Like, you grow up in a neighborhood, and perhaps you might know everyone on your block, or you might know your next door neighbor or person across the street. But with Boxville, it's literally a hub of people that are somehow connected. Like, Synergy Foods, Leah, that's one of my best friends. Ebony, Good Thoughts Tea. These are people I was able to bring into what was happening at Boxville, and now they're planted there and growing in their own way. The Trail, AO Bistro, you got Jamila. And like, it's constantly new people coming in, and it's so important that we like interweave in some kind of way, and we build this community, and we become tighter as a unit, because it allows us to share our pitfalls and share our successes and share what's working for you, and what's, maybe I can use that to apply to my business. Sometimes you don't necessarily always have 10 other businesses around you that you can, really sit and have those conversations with. It may just be you and another store. So community has been like very vital for us.
Extremely.
It's that critical mass I was talking about, and there's so much benefit and residual. There's so many residual benefits from doing it, not just from a customer standpoint, but just there's so many times where I'll walk into someone's container, and it's like 3 of the different enterprises in there is just hashing up the strategy. You're like, man, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get together on Friday nights and open up extended hours. If someone's running a promotion, they're like, hey, I'm going to do one that day too, to get a bigger draw. So there's so many residual benefits. And again, Be Creative, like, literally has pulled in pretty much every other business that has been in Boxville. One of the things you guys have said, and again, highlighting some points, at the end of the day, this is business, and working off of emotion, you need the emotion, you need the passion. Well, the licensing, insurance, all of that's still required. I mean, a container may not look like much, but this is business, and so we got to cross those T's and dot those I's as far as what are all the things that are required from a business infrastructure standpoint. And we help with that too through the Bronzeville Incubator, the Illinois SBDC at Bill Bronzeville. So it's a daunting task, or can be, if that's something that people just don't understand or have gone to school to be knowledgeable of. But we help along that process, but certainly is required. We're taking, in some instances, somebody's hustle and making it legit. Like, we're trying to be legit here. We want to do things with excellency, in order, but just in a different creative way. So
well said, Alexander.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
That was well said.
That was beautiful, man.
It's definitely true. Like, that dynamic of learning how to, like, not only work in your business, but work on your business.
Yeah, for sure.
True. Like even now in this panel, I had a customer just right now come in, want to try these tights on. So I'm like, hey, look, 1 second, let me hit this mute button. But I just want to chime in real quick and give it's cool to have the shipping container. The shipping container is amazing, but one of the best resources that I've had while being at Boxville is having the opportunity to go sit down with the SBDC, go sit down with Lauren the God, and
say that again.
Say it.
Straight up, have us sit
Lauren, what's
down
up?
and really take my my street level knowledge about business and expand on it so much. I feel like Dr. Strange at this point when he was in Taj Mahal or whatever it's called. Like I really feel like she's giving me so much info. What I'm paying in rent, honestly, that's the most valuable thing that I've had while being here. Her and Rebecca are amazing. I've gotten the ability to really sit down and explore my numbers in a very tangible way, understand my profit loss, my P&Ls, get my business plan together, like get me prepared to sit down with banks for capital, for conversations about capital and things like that. That has been amazing because, like AJ said, like we work so much with passion and what we believe in and the love that we put in our business that we'll jump into this, and then all of a sudden we realize that the water's up here. Mm-hmm. You know, we gasping for air because love can only take you so far in the business world. Yeah. You gotta come with some knowledge.
You gotta grow up. You gotta make it legit.
Yeah, and SBDC has been an amazing place to get all the information I needed as a tenant with Boxville.
Yes, and I'm so glad like you're talking with passion about that aspect of getting established or growing in Boxville, because honestly, like that's not the fun, sexy part. You know, I have plenty of conversation. I'm like, oh, you want a box? Like, you need to set up some time to walk through your concept through the Illinois SBDC. I'm gonna be honest with you. Some people are like, oh man, okay, well, and I may not even hear from them again. But I'm so glad that you were talking about like it is essential that you really take the time to say, I need to step back, take my passion, put it on paper next to the numbers, and make sure I'm making this thing work out. So thank you guys for really emphasizing.
Real.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Yeah, thank all of you for real.
For really coming in, Alexander, and helping to manage what is Boxville. Before you were there, we were kind of like the rambunctious, rebel, bad kids of Boxville.
With the knuckleheads.
We were just like doing anything we wanted to do, and Alexander came and like really helped
like see what you're doing,
mediate. You know, really like create structure around it, and it's really appreciated. Like it's essential to have structure to grow. And so it's essential that Lauren, that Rebecca, that you're there to help these businesses. It's like, to Ian's point, what was it, Ian? You had a cold line, like you a rapper. You said something about love can only take you so far or something. It was good. It was a good one. I forgot, but I like it.
I'm gonna play back the recording and send that out to everybody so I can get that quote right.
It's real.
It was a good line.
It's real
true, because if the way each business is able to sit and really talk to a real person across from you that can help you understand where you're at, help you understand how to do your taxes, how to do them on your own, that you can call them and say, one more time, how do you do that again? And they're there for you.
Yeah.
You just don't find that often. They can walk you through these things that you've never done in your life, but are so essential for your business to grow and even exist. It's truly a godsend to have. Like,
it goes from like almost being like, you have like this vision, you have like the goal, but there's this gray area in between. And you have the creative side of that gray area, but you don't have the actual logistic, like the actual business side of it. And that's one thing that you guys have extremely helped us with. It's been beautiful. I can't thank you guys enough. We're extremely grateful for you guys. Because that was like the last part we were kind of missing, because we're super creatives. We didn't have that structure on that side, and we needed that structure badly. Like, and you guys just gave it to us so gracefully. so we appreciate that.
So thank you.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
To pretty much sum that up, I think what we basically saying in a nutshell is, you know, when you come here, have a proper understanding of the concept of your business, have a proper understanding on how you want to execute your business. You don't have to come here with a degree. You don't have to come here reading every book that you see on Instagram, every caption you see on IG. Like it's a lot of resources here that can get you over that hump from hustle to business and whatnot.
Yes, indeed.
What? And you got them back to back now, bro. Hump and hustle over the hump from hustle. We're gonna talk offline because
you gotta make some shirts, bro. You gotta make some shirts. What's up?
Right, back to back. So I want to talk a little bit about the future. I want to make sure I fit this in our time. I know we got about 10 more minutes left. I want to be respectful of everybody's Friday afternoon. I don't know if you ate your lunch already, but so the future, and I know a lot of people are like, well, how many containers are, available, how much they cost, like how do I sign up, or how do I get in? So I'm gonna even kind of talk ahead of that a little bit. Boxville right now, think of it as Boxville 1.0. Boxville 2.0 is going to look like 100 containers on our site. And we're going to build in some areas on our site 4 stories high of containers. Right now, we're at 17. So we got a little ways to go. By the end of this summer, we're actually adding more containers due to growing demand. So we'll be at 20. And we're adding some additional features, if you will, to be able to meet some other needs or different concepts that, we're growing and expanding. We have to adjust as far as the infrastructure build out is concerned. So stay tuned for some details on what containers are going to be available. There's going to be a mixture of 10-foot containers, which we refer to as micro boxes, maybe some 20-foot containers, and we're going to have possibly some 30-foot slots as well. So we're currently in design phase right now. Containers might be landing on our site within the next week or two. So again, stay tuned to our Instagram, Boxville Shy, to our webpage, boxville.org. And I'll put up a link in a few moments on our vendor application or information request page, so you can sign up and we can start that conversation. I can let you know. So as far as availability, right now we're at capacity, but in June or late June, early July, we will hopefully be able to bring back pop-up vending. So last summer, because of COVID, no one was getting permits to do any type of pop-up festivals, markets, or anything. As the city, state, the world's trying to open back up and consider how to do the things that we used to do before, we're going through the process of figuring out how do we bring that back. So if there are not containers available, how do we have people pop up on a, short-term basis, whether it's a few days a week, a month, or longer. So again, those are in development. So again, stay tuned for that. But late June, July, we will have more containers of spaces available and have pop-up opportunities. So the first step is going to be follow us on Instagram so you can get all the latest, and then fill out that vendor application form, and we'll connect and talk about your concept, what's a good fit, what size, what's next, and anticipated timeline on when you can get in. So hopefully, I know a few people had that question in the Q&A in the chat. If you can see the chat now, the different links are up there for the website, Instagram, and how to become a vendor. I do want to say thank you to Be Creative, to Last Lap Corner Store. As you can see, they selling merchandise while on the chat and answering questions, spitting business rhymes. Like, obviously, everyone here is multi-talented, but of course, appreciate your time, because time is a resource that we cannot get back. So thank you guys so much for what y'all bring to Boxville and participating. And hopefully, some folks picked up some gems for you guys. I want to also talk about opportunities to network and connect. Now, come to Boxville, come talk to the different enterprises here. I think that's the best way to get a really good feel. Like, step into Ian's box, Be Creative's box. Not all the containers you can step into because they're small, but ask to peek inside, talk to the people who are running their businesses here. It's a great way to learn.
World famous tours.
Oh yeah, Leah Home Synergy Food should definitely give you an entire tour around Boxville.
She does her thing.
Tour. Very thorough. I appreciate her. Shout out to Leah if you're on here. It's the best way to network and learn about Boxville and come support the businesses, buy some stuff. If you are a food enterprise, now listen up, this is very important. Give me 1 second, I'm gonna share my screen. if you are a food enterprise and you are interested in joining Boxville, or for that matter, just looking to grow or make the next steps, as I mentioned before, figuring out your licensing and all the different regulations is essential. Food is nothing to play with, and the city don't play. We're doing a training on May 11th from 12 to 1 with Zena Murray from Logan Square Kitchen. This is the first training brought to you by the Bronzeville Culinary Connection, one of the newest initiatives from Build Bronzeville. And we'll be talking about how to navigate food licensing and regulations. Why this is important, or why navigating is the word as opposed to, you know, how you do it, because everyone's path is going to be different to licensing and regulation, depending on what you're making, where you're making it, and who you're selling it to. So for you food enterprises out there, because that's a majority of the folks that I hear from, you want to participate in this free training. So please, please check it out. The link has been dropped in the chat to sign up.
Yeah. Make those plates proper. Do it right.
You got to make the plates proper. You know, keeping it clean, if you will. Again, I think we're wrapping up a couple minutes early. I don't know if there were any other questions that we might be able to address in the moment. Let's check the Q&A to see.
Like Alexander said though, like, yo, pop out, like come in, definitely ask questions, come see the space. I know for me, I do better when I see a physical space to be able to picture what my business would have looked in here. So coming to get the tour, coming to see the box for me really helped solidify my decision to come to Boxville. And so if you feel like you need that, yo, come by. All of us are really welcoming, you know, super understandable if you want to come in.
About to say that, yeah.
Yeah, if you want to, hey, can I pop in my head, see how your layout is? Can I see this? Can I see that? The food businesses are amazing people as well. You know, come and ask questions. Come check us out.
Definitely. For sure.
There was a question here. Are there certain times to come due to the pandemic? So each business is independent business and has their own business hours. But again, getting to critical mass, typically everyone operates around the same hours. So Tuesday through Saturday, you're going to see probably 90% of the enterprises open. I would say noon to, I think Ian might be open the latest, 7, I believe. How late are you open, Ian?
Tuesday through Friday, I am 11 to 7. On Saturdays, I close at 6. On Sundays, I close at 5.
So I would say anywhere from noon to 5, you're going to catch most of the businesses open Tuesday through Saturday.
Yeah.
We have similar hours.
Yeah.
We're 10 to 5, Monday through Thursday, 11 through 11 to 7 on Fridays. We're closed on the weekends.
Yep.
But 9 times out of 10, those are the days we run production. So you'll probably see us in there. We're pretty much there almost 7 days a week. So to Ian and Alexander's point, it's a few businesses you'll definitely be able to catch between those hours. For sure. Pop in and ask questions. You never mind helping anyone or directing them to Alexander if they have any questions above our pay grade.
Come say hi. Come say what's up.
Say what's up. Yeah.
Another question.
And just if I could shout out the businesses that aren't here, just because that's just who I am, like definitely gotta check out Synergy Foods. They got fresh quality produce and caramel apples.
Amazing
you
apples.
You gotta check out Good Thoughts Tea Company.
Amazing tea.
Amazing tea. Ebony. You gotta check out AO Bistro. Crazy
tacos out this world. Hot dogs crazy.
Hot dogs. You got Jamila with the incense and the jewelry.
Out of here.
What am I missing? I feel like I'm missing somebody. Oh, Mel Mogul. They got Young
Place?
Tins. I didn't say Conscious Place. If you're looking for vegan or alkaline-based food, you gotta check them out. And then Mel Mogul, they have teens selling their own merchandise outside of their box. It's a not-for-profit, I think, initiative. I'm not sure if it's not-for-profit, but I know it's a male initiative. I feel like it's everybody.
That is everybody. Oh, and last.
Go ahead with the commercial.
We need more.
Commercial.
Let's go.
I'll answer one last question before we sign off. Someone asked.
Tales in the Hood, definitely come by and say hi, because I need to know what you selling, what your products are with this name. I've been trying to figure it out since you popped in the chat.
Yes, indeed.
To answer one last question before we sign off, because I do get this a lot. Do we have a commercial kitchen offsite that we offer? Does the rent cover the cost of that kitchen? We do not have one on site. There are commercial kitchens all over the city. We can certainly talk through the process and we can help maybe direct you to some, but you'll have to look up and see which kitchen is closest to you, which one has the facilities that fit your needs as far as equipment, the hours that are accessible to you and your business and things like that. So it's certainly those types of facilities are going to depend on what you're doing. So we don't have anything in-house, but we can certainly talk about what you're doing and maybe direct you in a certain place.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
All right, so we are at time and we did pretty good with time. Again, thank you guys so much for participating. Last Lap, Be Creative.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
having
guys
us.
for joining us. Again, you have our contact information out there. I'll put it back on the screen. Reach out to us if you're interested, if you want to sign up. Let me hit these links one more time. Boom, boom.
You gotta do the chat room sign off. Follow all the moderators. Make sure you follow them on their social medias.
On their social medias.
Social medias.
Hold on, I'm gonna drop ours in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Last Lap Corner Store everywhere.
Awesome.
Yep,
I'll let
yeah,
them
put
drop
you
it
in there.
chat.
Last Lap Corner Store, right? Oh, you already did it, bro. You want to go on.
Real quick.
Awesome.
Real quick.
I'll
Come
leave this
talk
up
to
for a
us.
minute. Make sure you check them out at the Work Spot Shy and at Last Lap Corner Store. Thank you guys again.
Yes.
Have a wonderful weekend. Follow us at Build Bronzeville on Instagram and Facebook. Come see us. It's going to be a warm weekend too. It's a good time to buy some running shoes on Saturday and then run back to Boxville and buy a hot dog from the hot dog box.
Go.
Boom.
Get some things printed up, some merchandise printed up.
Yeah, you need a
Two
shirt,
times.
hoodie. We got you.
All right, guys. Thank
Tomorrow,
you. Have a wonderful
Saturday
weekend.
morning. Tomorrow,
Thank
Saturday
you.
morning, we got to run. We're running. We got my block, my hood, my city. They'll be here. Gumbo will be here. We have a 1.5 mile route. We have a 3 mile route and a 6 mile route. Come on.
Right.
Go crazy.
Come
Come
on.
check us out.
Let's go.
Peace, y'all.
Y'all have a good one.